Welcome to the Cabral Concept, where board-certified naturopath and integrative health practitioner Dr. Stephen Cabral shares how he was diagnosed at the age of 17 with a life-altering illness and given no hope for recovery. It was only after studying and traveling all over the world did he discover how to combine ancient Ayurvedic healing practices with state-of-the-art naturopathic and functional medicine to fully rebalance the body and re-energize it with life. It's time to discover how to get well, lose weight, and finally feel alive again. And now, here's your host, Dr. Stephen Cabral.
Hi everyone, and welcome back to the Cabral Concept. Thanks for joining me here today on this Friday review, and can't wait to get into today's show. So many of today's topics come in from our Cabral support group, all of the people in that online community that make it so great. It is free to join, like I've always said, and we will keep that free for the foreseeable future. It's our way to try to give back, answer questions, and help in as many ways as we can. Well, today's show is really dedicated, as always, to the best of the week. But this week, what I want to do is bring you many of the products that I've been using in my own life with travel, and a lot of the ones that have come up from the community group that people want to hear more about. So always excited that if we get a bunch of people, they want to see me review something, I'm all about it. And I'm happy to do that because this show really is open source. It's about our community. It's about what you want to hear. There are no preconceived topics of what has to be talked about. I don't have that. My team knows that I'm basically about 2 weeks out at all times of the podcast. That's it. Meaning that I don't look 3 months from now of what I'm going to be talking about. I talk about whatever's relevant, whatever's happening right now. And if I see new research, something I need to bring you that I just feel is absolutely pertinent in your life, it's in that Friday's podcast. So these are always fresh. I really don't record the podcast more than a couple days in advance. So what you're hearing has really just been recorded over the last day or so. So without further ado, let's dive right into the show and get into a couple of the items right now that have been brought up many times in Cabral support group, but also that I'm continuing to use in different protocols and in my own life. Now, I do a ton of travel. I do a lot of speaking. I do a lot of meetings that I have to go to, and I love them all. I do. But as I've spoken about it before, not the biggest fans of having to go through airport security and having to wait for planes and have them be delayed sometimes and then doing all of that. I'm just not a huge fan, but I know that it is a means to an end. And the end is being able to meet a lot of great people, being able to speak on topics that I love so much and I want to share with the world. Well, the ways that I've been honestly able to stay healthy this winter, and I know a lot of people knock on wood and all that. I don't think I have any around me, or I would maybe fall for that superstition as well. But I really had a great winter with just one cold. Now, if you've ever been to Boston during the winter, if you've ever been to New England, you know how cold and raw it is. And it's why so many people end up with a chest cold or sinus congestion for the majority of the winter. It basically goes away and comes right back. And that's because we know in Ayurvedic, it is a kapha-based season. It's cold, it's damp, it's not an ideal place to live. I mean, it's really not during the winter. Now, I love it during late spring, I love it during the summer, and I love it especially in the fall. But, our winter lasts from, let's say, summer in November all the way through early April. And that's a long time to be in that damp and that cold. Well, the last couple winters, I haven't, to my knowledge, had any of the deep chest congestion and really feeling great. I mean, I really have been. I did get one cold this winter, probably lasted about 4 days or so. And then it was gone. And of course, my story is that I just refuse to use antibiotics unless it is a life-saving condition for myself or my family as well. Your thought process might be different, and I totally respect that. I have no problem at all. Whatever you feel is right for you, you should always do for you and your family. I just want people to know that there's repercussions to that. The repercussions to that are oftentimes gut-based issues, which can then lead to autoimmune issues, etc. So my goal is to keep myself healthy, my family healthy, those people in my practice, and of course, you as well as part of our community. So I take my typical foundational protocol. So I think by now, I do what's called level 3 of the daily foundational protocol. I do use the digestive enzymes, mainly just with a more challenging dinner if I eat different types of protein at dinner. But I keep it easy. I keep it super clean. And then I'm always adding in different supplements. I'm always trying out new things. And the reason is that I need to know how they work well before I would ever recommend anything to you. Now, have I studied all the vitamins and herbs? Of course. But there are different formulations. There are different delivery methods. and I research it, I study it. This seems safe. I know the research is strong. They've been using Ayurveda for 6,000 years. And then I'll look into it, right? So this happens years before you'll ever see it at equilibrium, years before. But I'm always doing that, but I keep my core. Now, what I do though, that a lot of people don't know about is, yes, we have our adult immune protocol and I use it when I get sick. But what I've been doing this year is I've been adding in one product to my typical extra vitamin C and zinc spray when I travel. So super simple. I take full spectrum vitamin C every day. One capsule at breakfast, one capsule at dinner with my daily foundational protocol. That's easy. But when I travel, I do an extra scoop of the alkalizing vitamin C. It gives me an extra 2.5, 3 grams a day. That's all I'm looking for. And I don't do it after I do it the day I'm getting on the plane. I do it the day after the plane, same for the way home. That's it. So if it's a 3-day trip, I just take it for 4 days. Super simple. And I'm using the zinc spray. Now, I wanted to bring this to you because it's a travel size. I keep taking the chance with my Nutribiotic one, which I love. You know that I love Nutribiotic. They're a great company. And that's the thing. I don't know, to my knowledge, no other company in the world would ever recommend another company's products, but we do all the time. And that's because it's always about what's best for people. You have to put people first. And Nutribiotic, great company. We love their stuff. So one other company though, but the problem is their throat spray is 4 ounces. And so TSA loves to take that from me, even though I try to hide it, and they end up throwing it away. And I only do carry-ons. I refuse to check a bag because time is of the essence for me. So one that I found was this by Quantum Health. It's called TheraZinc, and it comes in a 2 fluid ounce bottle. And usually there's like a 2-pack or 3-pack. So I love this. And now this is my go-to throat spray for when I travel. And I use it when I'm on the airplane. I use it that night, and then I use it the next day. And for me, and also the research, by the way, on zinc gluconate, is rock solid. It's rock solid for reducing the average duration of a cold, but also not getting sick in the first place. Now, listen to this. It's a proprietary blend of vegetable glycerin, stevia extract, clove. You know that I love clove. It's an absolutely fantastic antimicrobial, antibacterial. Has peppermint oil. It has menthol, which is great and soothing for the throat. Has slippery elm, nice for inflammation as well. Echinacea, great for the immune system. Elderberry, great for cold and flus. And it has wild cherry bark extract as well. Powerful antioxidant, great for the body. And then, of course, it has, for 8 sprays, 7.4 milligrams of zinc gluconate. I do between 4 and 8 sprays, and I let that get right in the back of my throat. And that's it. And I don't drink any water for 5 minutes just to let it sit there and marinate on the back of my throat to kill all those bugs. So that is something that I do while traveling. And one other thing that I've really enjoyed using this winter, and it could be whenever I feel a little tickle coming out of the back of my throat, right away I go to my go-to products. Well, this one I've been using while traveling as a prophylactic, which means that I don't wait to get sick. Like, that's the whole thing about natural medicine. Preventative. Don't wait to get sick. Don't wait to get an autoimmune issue. Don't wait to have gut issues. Like, do the work so that you can just live that healthy life that you want and not have to worry about, either, right, you pay now or you pay later. That's one of my favorite sayings, but either way, everybody pays. And so I like to just say, I'm going to have this on my terms. If I'm going to speak, I can't be sick. Nobody wants to hear a natural health doctor that's sick up there, on the microphone. So I'm a big proponent of obviously trying to stay healthy. So this product I'm using right now is by Herb Farm. It's Rapid Immune Boost. It is part of our mold protocol. It's part of our mold protocol. Not a lot of people know this because it contains a plant called yarrow. And yarrow is actually an anti-mold, antifungal. And it's one of those great products that I've never seen anybody use before for a mold-based protocol, but the research is absolutely there. So we use that as part of our mold protocol. Of course, our mold protocol is detox first, ideally the 21-day. Then the Candida bacterial overgrowth protocol, finish it up with the mold protocol, and it's worked just absolutely great in our practice. So the Rapid Immune Boost, I use it by itself. I simply put it under my tongue for 2 minutes like I do most of my sublinguals. And I'll do this in the morning. I'll do it at night. That's it. Really, really easy. Remember, supplements don't have to take up your whole life, and it makes it super easy to keep you healthy. What do? I just keep these on hand. A lot of people, they go and have to find them after they're sick. Keep these things on hand. For the most part, they're not too expensive. And obviously, just in my opinion, what do you have if you don't have your health, right? This by Herb Farm, and it's called Rapid Immune Boost. You can find it at most health food stores. It's echinacea. It's golden seal. It's Osha. It is Herba Santa Herb. It is ginger rhizome. It's black elderberry. It's yarrow, and it's wild indigo. So a really nice immune boosting formula. A lot of things from Chinese medicine and Ayurvedic medicine. It has horseradish in there as well. So this, believe it or not, I'm reading these ingredients again. This would make an absolutely fantastic digestive aid too. So if you ever felt a little bloating after a meal, without a doubt, you could use this. It has horseradish. It has ginger, both of which are fantastic for digestion. So, all right, just wanted to bring that to you. A bunch of questions always, how do I stay healthy when traveling? And that's it. Right now, I've got 2 young daughters that are both sick. We're on our travel right now, and my wife is sick as well. Again, knock on wood, I'm staying healthy. I'm keeping myself healthy. I need to keep them healthy, hope and be there for them as well. But my daughters use the Children's Immune Protocol. If you haven't heard of that before, just head over to stephencabral.com/podcast and simply type in Children Immune, and you'll find that podcast. It links to all the different products. It's the exact products, not kind of like the products I use. It's the exact products that I use with my daughters. And one of them actually has a chest cold right now, and I hate hearing that. Her cough and her chest has that inflammation and her lungs are congested. And again, you should do what's right, what you feel for your family. I've been through this now many, many times with my kids, and I know that the immune protocol works great for them. So that's what we do. And, I know that it will work again, but I just wanted to share that with you. We're on our travel right now. We're on our holiday. Every March, my family takes a family vacation. My girls get a couple weeks off from school. And we love taking a family vacation to somewhere warm out of Boston so that by the time we get back, it's closer to real spring where we are. So, all right, that's what we're doing right now. That's what I'm doing. I have my little travel size now for the TheraSync. I'll link that up today. And the Rapid Immune Boost, besides the vitamin C and my daily foundational protocol. All right, head on over to stephencabral.com/1134 for all of those products. I'll link them up. They will not be on, for the most part, Equilibrium Nutrition. All right, next. This is a big one. We've gotten this many, many times inside of Cabral's support group, and our integrative health practitioners have been asking if there is a non-toxic hair dye product that will not have all the chemicals that most do. So what we did was we looked into madegood.org and the EWG.org, the Environmental Working Group, with their Skin Deep department. And believe it or not, there's only 2 products that pass the non-toxic test. Now, some are a little better than others. There's no doubt about it. But 2 are non-toxic. One is henna, and you might have heard of henna before, which is a natural hair-based dye for those people that are looking to cover up the gray. And there's another product that's actually making a lot of news, and it's called Hair Print. And it is the only one that gets the absolute seal of approval from madesafe.org. And when I was looking into the research on this, because of course I'm going to research it well before I would ever recommend it, is that this product is actually made by a doctor based out of Boston. So pretty cool that I'm able to give a little shout out to some Boston-based companies, us being a Boston-based company as well. And it was invented by Dr. John Warner of the Warner Babcock Institute for Green Chemistry in Massachusetts. So what I want to do right now is, if you don't know about henna, we can link that up as well. But henna is an actual hair-based dye. And so it works well for people with typically medium brown to darker brown or black hair. And hair print, though, is something very different. Now, I had never heard of its technology before. But what it does, it does not dye the hair. So it does have a pigment molecule that it's large enough to not go into the skin, which is very unique, but it's small enough to actually penetrate the hair and the protein that allows then the natural melanin in your hair to rearrange itself and change the hair color back to its natural color. I mean, it's really new age science. I mean, it's really happening. It really does work. I looked it up. There's a lot of people saying that it does work. I'll give you the people that it does not work for, and they're working on that right now. But that's pretty remarkable. So we have a product now that uses just 8 ingredients that are all natural. I want to name them for you right now. Purified water, sodium bicarbonate, that's literally baking soda, mucuna purines, I can never pronounce that correctly, but we actually use that as a nutritional supplement in our practice as well, sodium carbonate, ferrous gluconate, manganese gluconate, hydrogen peroxide, and carbomor. So when we look at that, I say, oh, wow, these are all natural, for the most part, mineral-based products, with mucuna being plant-based and hydrogen peroxide just being a natural chemical of essentially, that's actually ozone. Sorry, hydrogen peroxide is different. That's still a natural chemical. So when we look at these things, we say that's pretty phenomenal. And here's why, is that it's not dyeing your hair. It's actually restoring, feeding the protein in the hair. So it's actually strengthening your hair while changing your natural hair color back. So there's always a catch, right? So the catch is that your hair should be about 50% or so gray. That's what it seems. 50% or more is where it works best. And also, your hair should be either black, brown, or medium light brown, but not blonde or red. It will not work for those hair colors. They're working on that, but it is not perfected for those hair colors. And the other thing they say is that if you've already dyed your hair, you do have to wait until the hair dye comes out. And that's because I believe, I don't know why, but I'm assuming it's because the hydrogen peroxide could react with the current hair dye in your hair and potentially turn it reddish. So I don't know. They don't say that specifically, but that's my thought process, because the chemical reaction of hydrogen peroxide on another dye could turn it red. And we know that just from using hydrogen peroxide on certain other chemicals and colors. So I thought this was very interesting. I wanted to bring it to you. So if you're someone looking for a natural hair color and you meet all of those requirements, this might be a great product for you. The name of the company is Hairprint, and I'm sure their company name is probably hairprint.com. I don't have that right in front of me, but we will certainly link that up today in the show notes. I believe it's worth checking out, especially since if you are someone that dyes your hair, you'll want to be careful of any chemicals that you put directly in your scalp, which seeps directly into the bloodstream. So I figured I would pass that along. We've gotten quite a number of questions at Cabral Support Group from a lot of people that do not want their hair to go gray, which again, totally fine, your prerogative, and I can totally support you with that as long as we're using non-toxic products, of course. We don't want to keep filling up that rain barrel. All right, so what else can I share with you today? Well, what I wanted to do right now, it's a big travel-based show as well. I have a few people going down to Mexico on vacation and a few people deciding they wanted to travel to India and a little bit of the Far East. So people kept asking me about what I used to purify water when I was over there. Now, I want to just clarify something. If you have access to good, clean, bottled water at all times, this isn't going to really be an issue. You can simply use bottled water, and then you don't have to eat at salad bars. You don't have to consume beverages with ice in them. And you don't have to worry then about the tap water. You can use your bottled water for your toothbrush and all of that, and don't open your mouth in the shower. So, that's easy. And again, people ask me well, what do you do if you travel to Mexico? Well, if I travel to Mexico, I'm not bringing a water purifier with me. I'm not worried about that. I'll just drink the bottled water, and I won't do the mixed drinks with the water, those types of things. And I'm going to be fine. So here's what we want to look at. When I went overseas, I didn't know, and luckily I did, think about this ahead of time, that I could get clean water. Now, for the most part, most of the places I was at, I could get clean water. But there were a couple clinics I worked at that were less than hospitable, to say the least. Now, this is as an American, right? So it's far be it for me to say this is not the proper way to live or anything like that. It's not, right? I'm in a very poor community. I'm living in that community, and honestly, I probably learned more from anyone being a part of that than I could get from all the Ayurvedic learning I could get. It was absolutely amazing. And I've spoken about this before. But the water, all of the things, my body was simply not used to that. So what I did was I brought iodine and I brought chlorine tablets. Now, we know chlorine is not good for our gut, and that's because chlorine wipes out a lot of the good gut bacteria. But would I deal with a little bit of chlorine versus a parasite? Absolutely. Without a doubt, absolutely. And that's because I didn't want to get, ever do I want to get a parasite, but also I didn't want to get really sick while I was over there. So I used both of those and they worked very well. Now, what I did to combat all the chlorine was I did it in a large open pitcher or mason jar. So I kept the water out and I would allow the chlorine vapors to actually evaporate over a number of hours. But I wanted to share with you some new technology, and a lot of campers and backpackers have been using this and it's gotten great reviews. It's called Roving Blue. And what it is the size of a pen. That's it, literally. It weighs 1.8 ounces or 34 grams. And it purifies your water using all natural ozone. So this ozone can kill salmonella, it can kill E. coli, and it's very powerful, more powerful than chlorine at killing bacteria, viruses, and cysts, so certain types of parasites. So I wanted to bring this to you because it can be an easier alternative to having to bring chlorine tablets with you and a lot cleaner. But again, I don't believe that you should be drinking ozonated water. But I have no problem with ozonating water, meaning putting essentially 3 oxygen molecules. So O3. Now, here's the nice thing. When you use ozone in water, you can allow that ozone to actually then just turn back into oxygen and also any extra evaporate out of the water. So it's super easy. It doesn't change the flavor of your water like putting iodine in, but you can also use iodine. A couple drops of iodine is not going to be an issue for most people, especially most people who are deficient in iodine as well. So I just wanted to bring this to you. It's called Roving Blue. Super easy, the size of a pen, and you can clean water. I think it literally just takes like under a minute, but I will let you check it out if you're interested. If you're traveling, you're someone that loves to travel, you're worried about the drinking water, you can honestly just put it in a glass of water. You can clip the pen to the side of the water and let it just clean the water. And I would say not more than a minute or two. So check that out. Super lightweight, easy to travel with. You don't have to bring your life straw or any of these things with you. So check that out. All right. The last thing today is this. Every Friday, I want to bring you a little bit of lab data. That means I want you to be able to know what labs to ask for, to know what the lab data means, even if you are not becoming an integrative health practitioner or anything like that. I want you to be able to take control of your own health. And that means starting with knowledge. So a lot of talk, obviously, about the organic acids test. We're one of the biggest proponents of it. We have been for a decade, for a long time, at least a decade. And it's one of those things that now more and more people are talking about it. We're happy to see that. We want people to see it, but I want people to know, honestly, how to read it because it is a very complicated lab. There is a lot to it. The nice thing is, though, once you've done a little bit of study with it, it can tell you more than you could possibly ever hope for in a lab. So that's why it's part of our starter kit, meaning that the starter kit is your hair tissue mineral analysis, which gives you autonomic nervous system stress levels, your mineral levels, heavy metal levels. It's fantastic. But the organic acids test that's the other part of the starter kit. It gives you your vitamins, your CoQ10, your minerals. It gives you neurotransmitter, submarkers, mitochondrial markers for energy, ketones, fatty acids, glutathione, like I said, your B vitamins, and it gives you the first page of candida overgrowth, bacterial overgrowth, and Clostridium difficile. Pretty powerful, 75 biomarkers. But here's the thing. Most people don't know that it also looks at mold. Now, does it do as great a job as the Mycotox lab test for mold? No, it does not. However, it will give you a great indicator if there may be some hidden mold inside of the body. Here's why. Now, it's not looking as much at the penicillin forms of mold, but it's looking at the aspergillus forms. And the aspergillus forms are the kind that we get from breathing in air that's a moldy air conditioning vent that you don't even know about it. You have mold spores down your basement. At your office, they're blowing mold through the air ducts as well. You have water damage in some of your sheetrock, or like we had in our ceiling from our upstairs neighbor in our condo building. So all of those things are possible. And I personally was affected with this, and I only found out because I ran the Mycotox. Now, however, though, The organic acids test, I want to share this with you. On marker number 2, remember there's 75 total biomarkers, 74 technically. Number 2, number 4, number 5, and number 9. Okay? 2, 4, 5, 9. That's all you have to remember. 2, 4, 5, 9. Don't even worry about the names like tricarbolic acid. You don't even know that because it can be overwhelming. Here's the thing. If any one of those 4 are elevated, it means that there may be a hidden mold issue going on inside of your body, specifically from the Aspergillus form. If this is the case, you go back and listen to my previous podcast on mold. Okay, so just go to stevencabral.com/podcast, type in mold. You'll see all the podcasts I've done on that. Now, if you have high levels of mold, it can be disrupting your immune system because mold actually creates its own mycotoxins. And the mycotoxins are created in order, in a sense, to poison the immune system. It shuts down certain parts of your own immune system in order to protect itself. Look at that, right? So mold gets into your body. It has its own defense by releasing waste and poisons in your body, which turn off certain parts of your immune system. Pretty remarkable, right? That's how strong these organisms are. So the organic acids test it's part of the starter kit. That and the hair tissue mineral analysis. If you can only do 2 labs, you do those, and it will give you an immense amount of data. If I could one day give away those 2 labs to everyone in the world, it would be phenomenal because you'd learn so much about your health, but you'd also learn all the things that are going on right now that will eventually lead to issues that you want to take care of now. So that's why I'm just a huge proponent of functional medicine, working with a local functional medicine doctor, naturopathic doctor, working with a local integrative health practitioner, or online with an integrative health practitioner as well, or simply running the starter kit or any of the labs over at equilibriumnutrition.com, whatever works for you. It's whatever works for you, whatever model works for you. If you like to meet with someone in person, if you like to do it online, whatever works, I just say, get that data, get that information, especially if you're someone that's struggling right now. If you're not struggling, you might decide to wait. But in my opinion, you want to look at the data, you want to see what's going on inside your body, and you don't want to wait. You want to practice that preventative medicine, just like we were talking about at the beginning of the podcast. I use zinc, I use the rapid immune boost, I use the vitamin C, and I do that in order to stay healthy. I don't want to get sick. I want to keep this health going, keep this energy, keep this vitality going. And so hopefully that was helpful. We're always happy to answer additional follow-up questions over at cabralsupportgroup.com. That is our free Facebook group. You are welcome to join if you haven't already. Come in, join the other community members there. Do ask questions. We're happy to answer them for you. But just keep in mind, we would love you to support others as well. So don't just ask a question, leave some feedback for others, support others. That's what this is all about. Remember, we're our own little strange community, right? We're people that want to improve our overall health when the majority of the population is simply saying, what's new, what's next in the media. It's all media driven. So what we want to do is we want to look to really what the truth is rather than what the media is hyping up at the moment. So thanks so much. I hope you have an amazing weekend, and be sure to tune in tomorrow for our Cabral House Calls, where we answer all of our community's questions each and every weekend. Take care, everyone. I want to sincerely thank you for your support of this podcast. I couldn't do it without you, and I mean that. I truly do. I also want to make sure you knew that we now have multiple ways for you to find your answers to the most difficult health, wellness, weight loss, and anti-aging questions. You can find podcast-specific topics like thyroid, adrenal, hormones, sleep, digestion, Ayurveda, and many more at stevencabral.com/podcasts that will then link you to your favorite Apple, Spotify, and other podcast players. Plus, all new podcasts and weekly exclusive video content is being added to our YouTube channel at youtube.com/Stephen Cabral. And that's Stephen with a PH. Head on over and subscribe so that you don't miss any of the exclusive content. Lastly, if you've ever found any of my podcasts or books to be helpful, I would really appreciate it if you could leave a review on iTunes or your favorite media player for the podcast. Rating and subscribing to the YouTube and podcast allow me to reach more and more people and help spread my mission of healing throughout the world. Thank you again for being a part of this movement.